Rosa here. I hope you're all having a really lovely day. I'm here today to share with you some of the things I've been making recently. I'm really excited because there's some things here which I'm super pleased with, and I hope you'll like them as well. So yeah, let's just get started. I'll start by showing you what I'm wearing because this blouse is something that I've made. I'm doing this because it's frilly and I get very overexcited by frills. But anyway, this fabric is not a fabric that I actually bought. It's not really, if I'm honest, the kind of fabric that I normally would buy because it's a polyester chiffon. So if you see here, it's quite sheer, and I just absolutely never work with sheer fabrics. I kind of have a bit of a fear of them, if I'm honest. I think when I was starting out in dressmaking, I got very excited by all like the pretty sheer florals and things and spots in the shop. I remember going down Walthamstow Market and you get them for like £1, £2 a metre, and obviously when you're just learning to sew, that's very exciting because you're like, oh my god, it doesn't matter if I completely mess it up, because of course when I was starting out I made a lot of mistakes. But yeah, I was kind of put off because I do find them really hard to work with. This fabric was very, very kindly sent to me by Adam Ross Fabrics, and I bought a few things from them this year, and we also worked with them on Susie magazine issue 2, so that was really cool. And they sent me this fabric which I think is really gorgeous, and I was really inspired by a top which I've seen popping up. I think it's from Mango. I think it was Mango, and it's a top similar to this. It was white with black spots, not quite as big a spot. This is quite bold, this one. But yeah, I just absolutely loved it, and I'd screen grabbed it, saved it to my phone a while ago. But when this fabric came through, very kindly gifted from Adam Ross, I was like, oh, I actually could have a go at making that blouse. So I started having a look for patterns and thinking about which pattern would be right, and I did find this pattern, and I thought it would be perfect. But it was a vintage pattern, and I just found an image of it. I was like, oh my god, it's perfect. But then, of course, I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'll insert a picture of the pattern I used here. But in the end, I was just searching on eBay, and I found that you could buy the pattern on eBay, and including postage from Canada, and it came to less than 10 quid. And I was like, you know what, it will save me hours of trawling trying to find something the same in a modern pattern, which probably wouldn't cost any less anyway. I don't normally order patterns from the States because of course it can take ages to get here. Sometimes you get customs charging and things when you order from from Canada or the US. But I thought, you know what, it's just going to be a small little envelope. I'm sure it won't have any cost attached. So I did it. And it came in 3 days. It was crazy. I think I put it on my Instagram story. I was just so shocked at how quickly it arrived. But I was super chuffed. So I got it and I made this up. And although it wasn't an easy fabric to work with, the blouse is really simple. So yeah, I'm wearing it double spots today. These are not new. These trousers are my Sew Over It Ultimate trousers, which I did the high-waisted hack with. But yeah, I just wanted to do the double spot thing because I thought it'd be fun. So that's what I'm doing. I'm wearing a little camisole underneath. For modesty, and yeah, it's got this really pretty frill which goes all the way around the back. It's very 80s. It's just a plain front, plain back. I actually mixed up the sizes. I cut the extra small in the shoulders and like the waist, but I graded out to like a large in the hips, which I'm glad I did because it was meant to be quite boxy and oversized, but I didn't really want it. I wanted it to have more of like a fitted at the top, flared at the bottom look. And it has this frill. I used a super narrow, I'll do a little close up for you, a super narrow bias binding trim all around the frill. I just did all of that on the sewing machine, so that was quite easy. It looked awful to begin with, but of course that's because bias binding is, it's starched, so it doesn't look great when you first apply it. But then once I stuck it through the wash once, it's now really nice and bouncy and soft, and I'm so pleased with that. I did do a different sleeve, I would say that, so I'll show you the sleeve. This is a sleeve which I took from one of my favourite new look patterns. It's just a simple gathered sleeve, so it's gathered at the top of the sleeve head and then gathered at the cuff, and I just again put some wider bias binding trim around there. I'll link all these things down below, and that kind of goes for anything I show in my videos. I do link everything I can down below, so if you would like to have a look at any of it, just click open that box down there and you'll be able to see it. So yeah, that's my first make. I'm really pleased with it. I haven't worn it yet outside because it's been just so cold. This is more of like a spring make, but I am starting to get in that kind of springy mood, and we have had a couple of really lovely sunny days, which are still really cold, but I feel like spring is kind of in the air. I don't know about you, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, that's my first make. I'm really pleased with it. I'm gonna go and get changed into my next make. I am back and I'm wearing something slightly more seasonally appropriate. This is my Soho House 7 toaster sweater. Now I shared this beautiful fabric, let me give you a close-up. It's this gorgeous red houndstooth fabric. This fabric's from Fabricland. Again, I'll link it down below. I shared this fabric in my fabric haul video with you guys and I asked for your help. And I want to say a massive thank you because you guys had amazing ideas. I was absolutely spoilt for choice. I wanted to make like 5 different things with this fabric, but their suggestion of the toaster sweater kept popping up again and again and again. So this pattern I already had in my stash and I've made it once before, but I didn't really love it because I think I used a fabric that was too soft and drapey, and this sweater really works best with like a nice structured knit, and it's super duper flattering. I think it is once you get it on. So let me stand up so you can see. Oh, my pocket's poking out. Put my jeans on. I thought I tried it on with the spotty trousers. I was like, it's just too much. So yeah, this is my toaster sweater. The only alteration I made is that I cropped it. So I took 2 inches off the waist length and I think 1.5 inches off the width of this band. And I just find it to be a lot more flattering this way. So yeah, I would definitely do that again, particularly if you're petite. I'm 5'4", so I'm not like really tiny. My legs are kind of like an average length. I never have to like shorten jeans or anything, but my body is quite short in comparison. So yeah, I do think that if you are petite, this is just like quite a nice easy hack because it's straight at the bottom. I literally just cut off 2 inches. It was really easy, and this is how it's turned out. A couple of you warned me when you were recommending the toaster sweater, and you were like, just be warned, the toaster sweater is completely addictive, and I can really see how you could get addicted to this. This gets sewn up in like 2 hours. It's super quick and easy, but it's still really chic. I got some really lovely compliments at work when I wore this. I've worn it a couple of times. It's warm and cozy, it's quick to make, really flattering, and I love that it's now cropped. It makes it even more flattering for me. So yeah, I can definitely see some more toaster sweaters on the horizon for me. I'm gonna go and get changed into my next garment. I lied. I went to get changed and I was like, there's nothing else to get changed into. And there is a reason. The next thing I'm going to show you is something I'm going to put over the top of this. So it is my super cozy, fluffy McCall's cardigan. I love this, and it was a little bit of a labour of love because I know I said in my video this fabric, which I shared again in my January, I think it was January fabric haul. Oh, it's got a loose thread. Whoops, I'll cut that off. Just frays like crazy, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get used to my overlocker. I'm gonna have to just brave it and make it happen. I tried, guys. I got the pink thread for the overlocker. I got it all threaded up. It just would not work for me. It just hates me. It won't behave. So I ended up making this on my regular sewing machine, and it's fine. I'll be honest with you. It took a while because I had to then just sew all the seams like normal and zigzag with a really tight zigzag to stop it fraying, but it doesn't fray and it's fine, and it is the warmest thing on earth. If you follow me on my Instagram, which is rosabella.angelica, you will know that at the moment I'm really into layering up like summer pieces for winter dressing. But I do really feel the cold, so like, everything will always have like a string, like a little stringy cami top under it, and also like a thermal usually, and then clothes over the top, and then probably a nice cardigan. So this cardigan is a great layering piece. I've worn it to work. Our door is always to the gardens, always open at work. So yeah, my classroom's just freezing. So actually having a piece like this is just great. And I think this kind of neutral, pretty colour, but with an interesting texture, stops it from being boring. And also is, yeah, just super warm and cozy. I wouldn't say this is like my most flattering make ever, because like it's pretty chunky. I left the pockets off because yeah, the fabric was just absolutely crazy and fraying everywhere. I was like, well, I don't really want to have to stress myself out with inserting pockets as well. But and also it's already quite chunky. I just didn't think it needed that as well. I made my usual UK size 10 and it's come out just fine. It's a McCall's pattern. You can see that if it had a clasp, it would be quite tight, not tight, but quite fitted, but it doesn't. You just sort of wear it open and casually. And I decided to include this optional shawl collar, which I think just makes it look a bit, yeah, a little bit more interesting. It has a dropped shoulder, which I wasn't actually pleased about because I feel like it kind of makes me look quite wide. I don't know, like across here. What do you think? I don't know. So yeah, I didn't love that about the pattern. I used interfacing on it, which the pattern required. So just to let you guys know, if you're thinking of making this pattern, you'll need to buy stretch interfacing, which is really readily available. I got mine from the Village Haberdashery up in West Hampstead. They have a really great website, but I'm sure you can get it in your local haberdashery as well. So yeah, it does have that stretch interfacing on the facing pieces. So it's got a facing which goes all around the inside, which you sew down, and you also use the stretch interfacing inside the shawl collar should you choose to do that as well. So yeah, just a little heads up to you guys if you are thinking of making this, because I so nearly sat down, started making it and was like, oh wait, I need to get some stretch interfacing. My next thing I'm going to share with you, I'm not going to put on because I really want to show you the inside because I am very proud of how this has come out. So in my, again, my January fabric haul video, I showed you this beautiful wool and told you how I wanted to make a mini skirt. So I've made this really cute mini skirt. It has a flap on the front, which I think gives it kind of like the feel of a kilt. Now this is me like really overindulging in like lots of Clueless. I don't know if you guys love that film, but I love that film. And Cher always loves and rocks a really cute kilt. So I used it to make this cute kilt style skirt. It's a Simplicity pattern. I will insert a picture of it here. It's my tried and true mini skirt pattern. I absolutely love it. And this is how it turns out. I did lengthen all the pieces by I think 2 inches, which I tend to do with this pattern, because if I make it straight out the pack, it's like super short and I can't wear it to work. You can see I managed to pattern match it across there, which I was super pleased with, and also down the back it's pattern matched. So it's got an invisible zip down the center there, which yeah, I was pleased with. And I was kind of annoyed with myself that I made the waistband kind of weird. So I centered the pattern on the waistband, but I didn't match it. I wish I had. I mean, you couldn't have perfectly matched it, but I wish I'd have like matched it to like this point or that point. I don't know. So I was kind of, yeah, annoyed with myself about that, but I still think it's a cute little skirt and I'm really pleased with it. I wanted to like show it to you not wearing it because of the lining. I lined it and I'm like quite proud of it. I'm not sure I did it right though, so I know loads of you guys out there are so experienced in dressmaking, and I need just to know, I mean, I like it works, you know, it's fine, but I'm not sure if I lined it correctly. So this is it. On the inside it has, this is just like a really lovely poly crepe. It's like got quite a nice handle to it. It's not very thin. So I stitched it by hand down round the zip, just like a little catch stitch, and I also sewed it round like that on the sewing machine beforehand, so it was easier to catch stitch in. Obviously it's got the same darts, and I just, yeah, caught it in the waistband all the way around. And if you look at the bottom, I just did a really narrow hem on the sewing machine, which is, I think I cut this the length of the actual pattern, so it's, yeah, a few inches shorter than the skirt, because I didn't want it to like poke out. That would look really, really awful. So yeah, have I done it right? I don't know. In any case, I'm quite proud about how neat and tidy the inside of this garment looks, because that's something I would really like to, I do try and do, is make like the insides as pretty as the outsides. Do not always succeed, and this one isn't overly pretty inside, but it does the job. So yeah, let me know what you think. I love this mini skirt though. I've been loving wearing it with like little white polo necks. It just looks really cute, and yeah, very 90s, loving the kilt trend and the kind of tartan trend. I feel like this is the kind of piece that I will hopefully keep for a really long time, because I feel proud of how it's well made, but it's quite, you know, classic and also super warm and cozy. It's kind of like wearing a coat around your bum because it's made of wool. So yeah, it's a bum coat, we'll call it that, / a woolen skirt. But yeah, I'm quite pleased. So we're on to my very last make, and if you follow me on Instagram, you will have already seen this, and this is something which I was making. It's a very long, slow process up in December as well. So this is kind of like a slow burner make. So these things have all been made. The things I've shown you are kind of like, yeah, end of December, January, and then February. This coat is definitely from the middle of December, maybe even the beginning, that I started planning it and working on it and cutting out the thousands of pieces. But it's my winter coat of the year, so I'll take off my chunky cardi and put it on. It's pink. I'm so pleased. It's Lisette for Butterick pattern. I will insert a picture here so you can see it, but I have already got masses of wear out of this and I just love it. Just putting it on now, it makes me smile. I was inspired to make a pink coat years ago, and this is fabric from my stash. This isn't new fabric, because I have had intentions of making a pink coat for a very long time. Like, they kind of came into fashion, I think like 2 or 3 winters ago, and they were it was after camel coats. Everyone then moved into the pink coats, and I was like, ooh, because I'm a bit girly. I love the colour pink. So this is my coat. I will insert pictures so you can see it a bit more easily. It's got these little faux welt pockets which come in the side here. It's really nicely fitted but not tight, which is great. You can fit like a couple of really nice warm layers in underneath it. I chose these beautiful dark brown buttons because, yeah, I just thought they were really nice, and kind of, I didn't want the buttons to be too I'm just choked myself by sitting on it, sorry. Yeah, I didn't want the buttons to be too girly. I thought I wanted something a little bit tougher. It kind of reminds me of the coats that they have at Orla Keeley. I love everything Orla Keeley does, and just the whole styling, and the buttons were kind of inspired by her, and the way she kind of, yeah, puts like a tougher button on like a really sweet jacket. But yeah, it does up right the way to the top. There you go. And I just think it's, yeah, it's really cute and sweet, and I kind of feel like a sweetie in this. It's kind of fun. So yeah, there it is, sort of done up halfway for you so you can get an idea. So I could go on about this pattern for a really long time, but I'm ever so conscious of the time because I feel like I've been talking at you guys for ages. But just to sort of summarise, this is a fantastic pattern for an intermediate sewer. This is definitely not your first coat, because there's quite a few slightly more fiddly things, obviously like working a buttonhole in wool, fitting the collar, and obviously fully lining it as well. So I just chose a simple pink lining in there. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend this for beginners, but I would say if you're an intermediate sewer, or if you're like a kind of really ambitious advanced beginner, then this would be, yeah, a really great pattern for you as well. The fitting, it fits absolutely true to size. I made the size 10, it fits really well. I would say over the hips, if I have more than 2 layers, it will still do up, but it's not, doesn't sit completely right, but that's because I know that I do have wider hips. That's not the fault of the pattern. I think if I were to make it again, I might just grade out to a 12 at the hips. I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't bother me massively. It still, I think, fits really nicely and looks, you know, how I want it to look. Yeah, and as far as drafting goes, it's really flattering. All the pieces go together really well. It's got sort of details like a 2-part sleeve, which makes the sleeve just fit so much more comfortably and sit so much more nicely on your body. So yeah, I really like that about it. And yeah, I just think it's a really great classic coat pattern. You will never get bored of wearing a coat in this style. Oh, got an email, sorry. Yeah, you'll never get bored of wearing a coat in this style. It just looks, yeah, I think it's just timeless. So yeah, I do love this pattern, and I really love this pink coat. It makes me kind of happy. I feel like everybody is wearing black outside and I'm wearing bright pink, which I kind of like because it makes me feel a bit more sunny when the skies are grey. Anyway, that is everything for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and do click subscribe for new sewing vlogs from me. And yeah, that would be really nice if you would like to. Anyway, I do hope you have a really lovely week. I'll see you again very soon. Bye!